There comes a moment in life when the weight you carry feels unbearable. You have prayed, you have fought, you have tried to figure everything out on your own, yet the burden remains. Sleepless nights, anxious thoughts, endless worry, your mind races, searching for solutions, clinging to control. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself, are you truly allowing God to handle what's causing you stress? You say you trust, yet your heart is restless. You say you believe, yet your hands remain clenched, gripping tightly to the very thing you should be surrendering. This is the battle between faith and fear, between surrender and control. You want answers, you want resolution, you want to see the way forward before you let go, but that is not trust. That is conditional faith, faith that requires evidence before obedience. There is a weight that presses upon the mind, a burden so familiar that it becomes a part of daily existence. It is the stress of uncertainty, the endless cycle of fear and doubt, the desperate attempt to control what was never meant to be controlled. You have tried to reason your way through it, to plan, to analyze, to seek answers in the world around you, yet no relief comes. The more you strive, the heavier it becomes. And so the question remains, why do you hold on to what is not yours to carry? The world has taught you that security is found in control, that if you can predict every outcome, anticipate every problem, and prepare for every possibility, then you will be at peace. But this is an illusion, a deception that keeps you trapped in an endless loop of worry. There is no peace in control, only exhaustion. There is no rest in striving, only a mind that never stops racing. You were never meant to bear the weight of the unknown. The stress you feel is not a sign that you must do more. It is a sign that you must release. Look at your life, at the times when you tried to force things to happen, when you clung so tightly to your plans that you left no room for the greater plan unfolding before you. Did your worry change the outcome? Did your sleepless nights create the solution? Or did the answer come in a moment you could not have predicted, in a way you never expected, at a time that was beyond your control? There is a way beyond stress, beyond fear, beyond the struggle to control, but it requires something that the logical mind resists. It requires surrender, not as weakness, not as giving up, but as the deepest act of trust. To let go is not to lose, but to step into the realization that the burden was never yours in the first place. The very thing that weighs on you, that fills your heart with fear, was always meant to be placed into hands far greater than yours. But the mind resists. It asks, what if? What if things don't work out? What if I lose what I love? What if I don't get what I need? And so it holds on. It clings to control, to worry, to stress, believing that by doing so it can prevent disaster. But in truth, it is not preventing anything. It is only robbing itself of peace. The future is already unfolding. The path is already set. And no amount of worry will alter what is already in motion. The only thing that can change is your experience of it. You can live in stress, resisting what you cannot change, or you can surrender and walk in peace, knowing that all is unfolding exactly as it should. Look around you. The sun rises without your effort. The seasons change without your command. The birds are fed, the rivers flow, the flowers bloom, and not once have they had to struggle to make it so. There is an order, a divine intelligence that governs all things, ensuring that everything happens in its perfect time, and yet you believe you must carry the weight of your own life. as if you are the exception to this perfect design. Consider the times when you let go, even for a moment, when you finally surrendered the outcome of something you had been worrying about. Did you not feel the immediate relief? The problem may not have disappeared, but the weight of it did. That is the secret. The problem is not the issue. It is your attachment to it, your insistence on controlling what is beyond your grasp. Release it, truly release it, and you will find that the stress was never coming from the situation itself, but from your resistance to trust. And when you do let go, something miraculous happens. The answers come not through force, but through ease. The solutions appear not through struggle, but through alignment. The very things you were trying to control begin to fall into place the moment you stop grasping for them. Life was never meant to be a battle, but a flow. When you surrender, you step into that flow. When you release your worries, you make room for something greater. The choice is always yours. Hold on and suffer, or release and be free. The weight you carry is not yours to bear. The burden you feel is not a sign that you must work harder, stress more, or figure it all out. It is an invitation to trust. It is a call to let go of the illusion of control and step into the peace that has always been waiting for you. And once you make that choice, once you truly surrender, you will wonder why you ever carried it at all. There is a force greater than your fears, a presence that has guided you through every moment of your life, whether you are aware of it or not. Yet the mind clings to its worries, convinced that it must carry the weight alone. You've been told to trust, but trust without surrender is not trust at all. You say you believe, yet you hold on tightly to the very thing you should release. The endless cycle of stress is not a test of endurance, but an invitation to step into a greater reality where peace is not earned but received. Look back upon your life. Can you not see the moments when everything worked out in ways you could not have planned? The times when what seemed like delays were actually perfect timing? When closed doors protected you from what was not meant for you? Yet, in those moments, you worried, you fought, you doubted. You believed that if you did not stress over the outcome, then things would fall apart. But did they? Or were they being woven together in a way beyond your understanding? What if stress itself is the sign that you have not yet fully trusted? Worry is a symptom, not of a problem in the world, but of resistance in the mind. You believe that by thinking, planning, and obsessing, you are taking control. But the very act of holding on is what creates the suffering. You are not being asked to figure everything out. You are being asked to release, to step back, to stop interfering with the very process that is trying to bless you. The mind is restless because it believes it must always be in motion, solving, fixing, controlling. But true wisdom understands that control is an illusion. Consider the forces that shape this world, the rising of the sun, the changing of the tides, the breath in your lungs. Are you the one making these things happen, or are they occurring effortlessly, without struggle, without stress? There is an intelligence at work, an order far beyond human comprehension, and yet you believe that your problems are an exception. You believe that your situation requires your worry, that your stress is somehow necessary for the right outcome to unfold. But what happens when you let go? When you truly surrender? Have you not felt the immediate relief, the weight lifting off your shoulders, the deep knowing that all is well? That feeling is not an accident. It is the truth revealing itself. The burden was never yours to carry. The stress was never needed. The struggle was only ever within you. And yet the mind will resist. It will whisper that you must hold on just a little longer, that if you let go, everything will fall apart. But this is the greatest deception. Things do not fall apart when you surrender. They fall into place. The moment you release your grip, the very thing you have been struggling with begins to resolve itself, not through force, but through alignment, not through effort, but through allowing. There is nothing to fear in surrender, because surrender is not the absence of action. It is the highest form of trust. It is the understanding that what is meant for you cannot be lost, and what is not meant for you cannot be forced. It is the realization that peace is not something you find when the circumstances change, but something you allow when the mind releases its resistance. If you knew without a doubt that everything was already taken care of, how would you feel? Would you still worry? Would you still stress? Or would you breathe, rest, and move through life with a quiet assurance that all things are working together in your favor? That assurance is already available to you. It is not something you must create, but something. Look around you. The birds do not question where their next meal will come from. The flowers do not strain to bloom. The rivers do not fight against the current. They simply allow. They exist in harmony with the unseen force that governs all things. And yet, here you are, convinced that you must struggle, that you must force, that you must carry the weight alone. But you do not have to. You were never meant to. The moment you let go, you will see the truth, that the stress was never necessary, that the outcome was never in your hands, and that you were always being guided even when you could not see the way. Let go. Step into the peace that has been waiting for you all along, and watch as everything begins to unfold exactly as it was always meant to. There is a way beyond the struggle, beyond the restless nights, beyond the weight pressing down upon your soul. You have felt it before, that moment of clarity when all the noise fades and something within you whispers that everything is already taken care of. But then the mind returns, grasping, controlling, resisting, convinced that it must carry the burden alone. And so the cycle continues. You pray, but do you release? You ask for guidance, but do you listen? You seek peace, but do you allow it? The very stress you carry is proof that you have not yet fully trusted. You believe you have placed it in higher hands, but if that were true, why does it still weigh on your heart? To truly release is to no longer feel its weight. To truly trust is to walk as if it is already done. But instead the mind clings to its fear, convinced that without worry, without control, things will fall apart. Yet, has all your worrying ever changed the outcome? Has your stress ever solved the problem? Or has it only stolen your peace, while life continued unfolding exactly as it was meant to? Consider how the great movements of life take place. The tide does not struggle to reach the shore. The stars do not fight to remain in the sky. The tree does not resist the changing of seasons. There is an effortless flow, a natural unfolding, a rhythm to all things. But the mind, trapped in its illusion of control, resists this flow, believing it must force what was meant to be received. You were never meant to struggle. You were never meant to carry what was already being carried for you. The burden was never yours. And yet there is a part of you that already knows this. It is the part that finds relief the moment you let go. It is the deep exhale when you finally stop grasping. It is the quiet assurance that washes over you in the stillness of the night. This is the truth revealing itself to you, not through force, not through effort, but through surrender. It is not that peace is distant, but that resistance has clouded it from view. When you release, peace is what remains. You have been conditioned to believe that surrender means defeat, that letting go means giving up. But this is not the truth. True surrender is the highest act of trust. It is knowing that you do not need to control the unfolding, for the unfolding is already perfect. It is knowing that what is meant for you will come, and what is not will fade, and that in both you are protected. You have spent so much time fearing the unknown, yet the unknown has never once betrayed you. In every moment of uncertainty, something greater has been at work, guiding, aligning, preparing you for what is to come. There's a reason that stress disappears when you trust. There's a reason that the burden lifts the moment you stop resisting. It is because the struggle was never in the circumstance, but in your refusal to release it. The mind believes that peace will come once the problem is solved, but peace does not wait for circumstances to change. It is already here, waiting for you to accept it. The moment you choose to stop resisting, it floods in. But the mind will fight this truth. It will insist that without worry, without control, nothing will be resolved. It will grasp for solutions, seeking answers in the external instead of allowing them to unfold naturally. And so the suffering continues, not because of the situation itself, but because of your attachment to it. The river does not fear the rocks in its path. It simply flows around them. Footnote: the bird does not fear the changing seasons. It simply moves with them. And yet here you are, believing that you must fight against the current, as if the very force that created you has suddenly abandoned you. But you have never been abandoned. Not in the moments of doubt, not in the silence, not in the waiting. You are being guided even now. The answers you seek are already known. The path is already clear. The only thing left is for you to trust. To trust fully, not just with words, but with the deep knowing that allows you to release every fear, every worry, every need to control. And when you do, you will see what was true all along, that the burden was never yours to carry, that the struggle was never necessary, and that the peace you have been searching for has always been within you, waiting to be embraced. The weight you carry is not yours. The burden that fills your mind with worry, that keeps you awake in the still hours of the night, was never meant to rest on your shoulders. And yet you cling to it as if by holding on you can somehow change what has already been decided. You convince yourself that without your worry, without your effort, without your control, things will fall apart. But has all your stress ever truly changed anything? Or has it only stolen your peace, while life continued unfolding as it was always meant to? You have been taught that to solve a problem you must think your way through it, that the answer lies in more effort, more control, more struggle. But this is an illusion. The answer is not found in force. It is found in release. The moment you let go, the moment you step back and surrender what was never yours to control, the weight lifts, the burden dissolves, and in its place, peace arises. Not because the situation has changed, but because you have. There is a force at work far greater than your understanding. It moves the tides without struggle, paints the sky with the setting sun, brings forth the seasons in perfect rhythm. Nothing in nature resists its course, and yet you resist. You fight against the current, believing you must force your way through. But what if the very act of resistance is what creates the suffering? What if the struggle is not in the situation, but in your unwillingness to trust? Look at your life. See the moments when you tried to control everything, when you held on so tightly that you left no room for the unexpected, no space for the miraculous. And yet, despite your efforts, life unfolded in its own way, in its own time. Did all your worrying change the outcome? Or did it only exhaust you while the answer was already being prepared? Blame your friends and family, but they simply weren't meant to be there. The mind will argue. It will whisper that surrender means giving up, that letting go means losing control. But this is not true. To surrender is not to abandon responsibility, but to place it in hands far greater than your own. It is not to be passive, but to move with the assurance that everything is already being arranged in perfect order. The moment you release, you make space for the unseen to work. The doors that once seemed closed begin to open. The path that was hidden begins to reveal itself, not through struggle, but through alignment, not through force, but through allowing. You have felt this before. In the moments when you finally let go of a fear, did you not feel the immediate relief? When you stopped grasping at an answer, did it not come effortlessly? This is the truth revealing itself to you. The problem was never in the situation, it was in your attachment to it, the belief that you had to carry it alone, the idea that without your constant worry, things would not resolve themselves. But they do. They always do. And so you stand at a choice. You can continue to hold on, to stress, to fight, to struggle, or you can release. You can surrender the burden that was never yours and step into the peace that has always been waiting for you. Nothing needs to change for you to find relief, only your willingness to let go. The moment you do, you will see the truth that was always there, that the weight was never yours to carry, that the outcome was never yours to control, and that in the letting go, you finally find the freedom that was meant for you all along. You were never meant to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders, the stress, the worry, the endless need to control. It was never yours to bear. Life has always been unfolding in perfect order, whether you resisted it or trusted it. And in every moment, you had a choice: to struggle against the current or to surrender to the flow. There is a peace beyond all understanding, a rest that comes not from solving every problem, but from knowing you never had to figure it all out alone. The moment you truly release what is causing you stress, the burden lifts, not because the situation changes instantly, but because your heart finally allows what was always meant to be. Let go, trust, walk forward not with fear but with certainty that all things are being worked together for your good. The weight was never yours. The peace you seek has been waiting for you all along, and the moment you allow it, you will see everything is already taken care of.